Parshas Shmos that begins the Sefer by the same name presents us with a pasuk that effectively serves as a segue to Matan Torah and to all that follows historically for Klal Yisrael. When Moshe Rabbeinu had taken the sheep of his father-in-law Yisro into the desert, he chances upon a bush that's aflame, and the angel of HaKadosh Baruch Hu was appearing from within that flame to Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu's interest was piqued. Behold, the thorn bush is aflame, but it wasn't being consumed. So he drew nearer to see what was going on. HaKadosh Baruch Hu appears to him, sends him to Egypt to redeem Klal Yisrael from Egypt itself, and the rest is history, culminating by Matan Torah on the very same mount. And we know that both Chazal and our Balei Hashkafa inform us in sundry fashion that the fact that the sneh was never consumed is a lifelong lesson to instruct us that no matter what befalls the nation of Israel historically, we will never ever perish. But comes along Rav Shamshon Furl Hirsch, and he presents us with another lesson that I think is no less important, and it's so critical to our understanding of what our responsibilities are to each other as members of the nation of Israel, and what our understanding is to be insofar as the import and the sanctity of each and every Jew. Says Rav Shamshon Furl Hirsch, whenever HaKadosh Baruch Hu appears to Klal Yisrael, it's always be'esh, it's always within the context of a fire, both by Matan Torah, by the Karbanos and the Beis HaMikdash. Whenever we think of the Parshas Shmos, it's accompanied by a sense of fire. And indeed, the Torah itself is Eish Das Lamo. The Torah itself is considered to be a source of energy and warmth and heat that energizes us, that gives us a sense of passion, that gives us a sense of chamimos, that warms every fiber of our bodies as we engage in the limud HaTorah, in the study of Torah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and in the actualization and implementation of all the mitzvos that are spoken of within the Torah itself. And everything is always related to fire. But says Hirsch, when we think regarding an understanding of what Parshas Shmos is all about, we have a tendency to understand that it's normally reserved, as it were, to a sense of resting place of godliness that we don't typically associate with the humblest of people. And what I mean by that is as follows. When we think of the Parshas Shmos, we think understandably of the Beis HaMikdash. We think of Matan Torah. We think of the Karbanos. We think of an assembly perhaps even like the Siyum HaShas that was just experienced not only in MetLife Stadium, but throughout the world in almost any and every community where there's a minyan of Shomrei Torah and Mitzvos. And when we think of the Parshas Shmos, we think as well about great tzaddikim, great gedolim, whose very lives in every form and fashion of the conduct were emblazoned with Parshas Shmos, with the awareness of the presence of God and the actualization of that awareness. But says Hirsch, citing a medrash, Ein makom panoi below Shechina afilu sneh. That the reason that HaKadosh Baruch Hu appeared to Moshe Rabbeinu and began the entire history of the nation of Klal Yisrael with the Kabbalas HaTorah from within a burning bush that was the thorn bush is because when you think of it, thorns are thoroughly useless other than to be set aflame. They have no purpose. Nothing whatsoever can be done with thorns other than to use them to stoke and to fuel a fire. And therefore, says Rosh Hashanah Hirsch, it's ours to appreciate and understand that there's no such thing as any member of Klal Yisrael that cannot serve as a repository of the Parshas Shmos. Not every Jew, not every frum Jew was at a Siyum HaShas. Not everyone participated in completing Shas. Not everyone participated in the celebration of the completion of Shas by others. Not every Jew even knows what the term Shas refers to. Not every Jew puts on tefillin. Not every Jew attends the appropriate minyan of shul or any form of facsimile of serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu in appropriate context. But every Jew is a thorn, not in the side of Klal Yisrael, but a thorn in the burning bush of Klal Yisrael. Ein makom panoi b'lo shchina afilu sneh. So when we make such a fantastic and understandably glorification of the culmination of the study of Shas, and when we speak about the accomplishments of a small portion of the Klal Yisrael, but such an important portion of the Klal Yisrael that undertook that study, and no less importantly, perhaps even more so, those who have now undertaken it anew because they were so inspired. Let's think about all the Jews on our blocks, on our streets, in our communities, across the globe, that have no yediyah, no connection, no association with anything meaningfully Jewish. And let's remember when we think of them and we see them on the street, that they are part of the sneh in which HaKadosh Baruch Hu first appeared to Moshe Rabbeinu and effectively said to him, the history of Klal Yisrael begins by Har Chorev here and now, understanding and appreciating that every single Jew is a part of our nation, is a part of our history, and can indeed serve as a place of the appearance and the Hashras Hashchina, if we'll only let him in, and he will only be made to understand that he too could be the most glorious place of residence for nothing less than the presence of Hashras Hashchina itself. Have a wonderful Shabbos.